Hi and welcome to PowerPoints. I'm Russell Ray with Power Engineering Magazine, and joining me today is Craig Connell. Craig is the Vice President of Technologies and Power Generation Services for Black Veatch. Craig is also a very valued member of the Committee for Power Gen International. Craig, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Craig, one of the biggest trends in power generation is the transition to more gas-fired generation. Can you tell us a little bit about how Black Veatch views the market for gas-fired generation? Is the dash for gas alive and well in the power sector?
Sure. Yes, it's still alive and well. The trend lately has been to see more EPC and even some consulting engineering services projects along gas-fired generation in the States. And the last few years, it's been a little bit slower. We're seeing a little pickup in that trend. Some of it is driven by renewables having to backfill the grid, when renewables are up and down a little bit. So we're seeing a little bit more interest in that space. Some of it's driven by the need for more efficiency, obviously what's coming with the Clean Power Plan potentially, and then coal retirements as well. So some of the early retirements were more focused around the smaller plants that maybe didn't run so much, were old and inefficient. Well, now we're seeing some of the bigger plants that were scheduled to be retired starting to come offline. So
utilities need quicker, more efficient plants that can accommodate the growth of renewable generation.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Great, fantastic. Perhaps the biggest trend in power generation is distributed generation. How does Black Veatch view this? Is the growth in distributed generation going to continue? And how do you think utilities are responding to this growth?
Well, that's a really interesting question. We're debating that same question ourselves internally. There's a lot of factors involved with that. The need for more resiliency in certain areas of the country. Obviously Hurricane Sandy drove a lot of decisions around the need for distributed generation or even microgrids. Yeah. Another one is the cost of electricity. In some regions of the country, electricity is really expensive. In some people think they can generate themselves potentially and save a little bit of money. And the third one is, environmental. Can they do more renewables integration if they do it on their own premises? But the question is will this really take off or not? Right. There's tax credit incentives involved, and especially on the renewable side. Is that gonna go away or not? So it's hard to say where it's going to go. We have some utilities talking to us right now about doing more distributed generation. Some maybe want to even own it and maybe have a PPA with their customer. Others don't want anything at all to do with it, and there's some in the middle that are kind of figuring out what's their play. So there's a lot of unknowns in that market right now.
Yeah. So the response is really mixed from utilities. Some have embraced it,
right,
and some are still trying to figure out exactly where to go from here.
And some, I think, are actually trying to set the market, push the envelope a little bit, where others are just sitting on the sidelines doing nothing.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Black Veatch. Obviously, Black Veatch is working on some amazing projects. What is Black Veatch focused on when it comes to the market for power generation?
In the U.S., North America, it's mostly centered around gas-fired and renewables. We've done some large-scale utility projects now. We've, of course, all been involved in EPC, combined cycle, and coal all along, but coal's pretty much gone in this country other than retrofit work. AQC work is winding down rapidly in this country. And so what we're seeing, though, overseas is coal is not dead. In fact, we're seeing countries in Africa, for example, that have never had coal before, wanting to build coal because all they've got is gas and oil fired, and they want to balance their portfolio of generation. So, oddly enough, we're shutting coal down in this country, but the rest of the world, Asia, Africa, is building coal because they've got coal, and it's a source that they can utilize for themselves, and they don't seem to be quite as worried about CO2 emissions as we are in this country.
That's a great point, and what an ironic point to make. As we move away from coal, it's other parts of the world are embracing it to meet the needs of people throughout the world.
Right.
Right. Well, Craig, thank you so much for your time, and we really look forward to seeing the results of all your hard work at Black Veatch. Thank you.
Thank you.